You know what zero is, kids? It's the devil. I think it's the devil. I tell you what, because I'll tell you what zero is. Zero is or isn't a number. Yeah, because if an ace is involved, then zero is outside of the number system, because the top number and the bottom number are the same things. You see how it's a bad thing we're at zero? Now, he led this way the whole time. And I can tell you how I know that. Look back at the number system when he was talking about the fourth part of the first third episode. He was putting all those numbers to let you know that the number system, you should pay attention to it, because he was putting tricks in it. Neil Cassidy's second part of the first third, all that stuff, trying to get your mind wrapped up in that stuff. And now he's led you to it. Episode 0, where we were going to get to begin with. I told you he was... You don't understand what zero is. Zero's not nothing. Zero is drawn. It is dividing of whether there is something or isn't something. There can't be the concept of having nothing if there isn't something. But if there's something, then there's not nothing. That's what zero is. That's why it's not necessarily a real number. And when you throw in the fact that he's using aces, not zeros, then the zero lies outside of it. That means, you know what he created? A season. It completed the cycle. It made the loop. It drew the circle. It made the zero. And now that he's created it, he gave you clues the whole time. What did you think he was talking about when he was talking about he couldn't use a name that was already been used? He was telling you by a different name when he just described Sobonibus. Because in the Sobonibus concept, there's neither something or nothing, becomes one thing. And that one thing either exists or it doesn't exist. And if it exists, it's also everything. He's talking about you see more empty space than you do things. And there's power in that. And in the power of that was, he was telling you the outcome of all this. And that's how we couldn't help but arrive here. Once we followed the course of believing, there was a purpose for following the course other than what he was intending. In that, or it following because you did feel is what he was intending. Either way, you wind up at zero. And I'll tell you why it's dangerous here. Because you know that Johnny Cash song, Going Down in a Burning Rain of Fire, kids? It's talking about zero. You go into that and you get changed by it. He's talking about love. And that's what he said he was going to create. That's why he played the Ace of Hearts. He gave clues to that too. In the song about John Cage, he said, who wrote the book of love with stick and wet cement? John Cage was writing the book of love. It had to end in hearts. But the heart is either played at the beginning of the whole story, because it was your ace, you follow the heart to begin with and proceed in love for the sicko he is, proceed with it in love, or proceed the other way and deny the love that he ultimately deserved in the beginning, because he was the artist. Either way. And you can't take him out of the faction, because we wouldn't be here if he was. I wouldn't be in this situation if he hadn't done this. And you know what? I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story that you didn't know. I'll tell you a story that might clear some things up. Remember that story Monster wanted to tell you about the donut? Oh no, he didn't say that. He was about how something got invented, okay? Well, Monster didn't invent it. Here's what happened. I was in a situation, it was a hot desert day. And I'm crossing the desert, and I came from a repair shop, and someone put my tire on, okay? And they didn't tighten down the lug nuts. And so I get down the road, boom, 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 boom. Well, the wheel fell off. Now there I am on the side of the road. I've got no lug nuts for this vehicle. And I had to take care of it because I was going to burn up in the hot sun. Nobody gives somebody like me a ride, because I won't take one, because I don't need nothing from other people. I'm the one that takes care of other people. Don't you understand? Okay, well, I was going to solve this situation myself. And so I was looking what was in the vehicle. And, you know, for that pork chop business is it was flour and stuff like that because some sort of baking thing that was going on. So I take what's there, find an egg and that flour, a little bit of moisture to shape it, and I make some lug nuts for that vehicle, and I let the sun bake them on. I got out with a magnifying glass and I got it hot, and I mixed it up, and like, boy, that sun baked it good, and I kept the vehicle rolling just as straight as could. And I got down the road, and I get to some old nobody, and I tell him the story about how I invented donuts. And he's like, show me. And I said, look at this. This vehicle needed nuts, and I made them myself out of dough. Isn't that clever? And he looks at it, and you know what he said? Who made the donut holes? The goddamn holes! That's what he was telling you about to begin with. The holes were created by a stupid lug stud. All my genius applied to that, and the lug stud had beat me to making the donut holes. That's what this was a setup for the whole time. A monster told you. And you know where monster comes from? That's me when he gets his way. But I'll tell you what, since we're still here, I'll tell you a little something else. This season 2, you can come or you can't. Here's the thing, 0 is not inside the season. We are in a space. A space. It can be as broad of a space for all eternity, and there can never be another episode. Or there can be another episode. That's the problem with 0. 0 is undefined. It's either a space that exists between something, or it's nothing between something. And if it's nothing between something, then we're already there, and it's still ongoing. That's why he used the ace, don't you understand? There's a beginning or an end at the beginning or the end. And the number system can't be fixed now because you fell into the 0. It proved it the whole point, and now you've let him achieve an artwork that's undeniable. In fact, it's kind of brilliant. You know what? I wonder who all these people are. I wonder who all these people are who aren't all these people. And I wonder who wants love. That's what the heart suggests.